Hey guys, this is Cam315 and I'm back at it with another video for you guys. And this is another Chicago Bears game recap. And whew, I really thought the Bears were probably going to lose that on that last thing because the ball was literally in the air for like 3 seconds straight. And I thought a Vikings player would come out of nowhere and catch the ball. But luckily, your Chicago Bears hold on to win the game against the Minnesota Vikings, who, in my opinion, had no business being in the game to begin with. But hey, they won, and their track to their flimsy playoff, chase is still continuing alive for another week. Anyways, I've said enough about how personally it's just, I find it so interesting now the Bears want to decide to win. But regardless, the Bears won. It is what it is. Now, I kind of lost fact that, guess what, we're not going to get potentially the draft ranking we got. So I guess the next best thing is look towards the playoffs, only be middle of the pack of the draft. So the Bears beat the Minnesota Vikings 33-27. And they do it by a close margin because, let's be honest, these guys, man, even when they're so bad, they freaking stress people out. But I thought, for the most part, the Bears' offense, again, came out and played probably some of its best football of the season. They essentially did whatever they wanted to the Minnesota Vikings defense. They ran the ball, and Trubisky made really only 2 mistakes, to my knowledge, in this entire game, and he played freaking good. Again, questioning the fact, why the hell, if Trubisky's looking this good, or was playing this good, why'd you sit him down? But then again, at the same time, you cannot say that maybe sitting him down for a few weeks was probably the best thing because the dude looks like he's confident as hell, even though it was against a Minnesota Vikings defense missing some key pieces on their defense. David Montgomery, again, another game where he rushes over 100 yards and he shuts more Bear fans up who are saying, wait a second. This was what getting hyped for David Montgomery. I'm just gonna tell those Bear fans, listen, he's always had that type of stuff in him. The only problem was Matt Nagy never fed him the ball, and the offensive line never did him any favors blocking for him. I already knew I was getting this David Montgomery, and I'm not shocked. And I like the fact this is the David Montgomery we're seeing. This is a good quality running back. He fights for extra yards, and he is just a tough dude. You have Bear fans actually critiquing him, saying, oh, he's not that good. He's honestly a bust at the running back position. Well, just look at what happened. He's had like 3 or 4 straight games rushing over 100 yards. Like, seriously, if you weren't high on him, you should be high on him now. This is what he can do. And I've always advocated the Bears be a run-first team. This team, honestly, is what the Bears should be playing like the Tennessee Titans play. They're a run-first team. And then they pass second when they freaking need to pass in key situations, but mostly play through the play action game. And that's what they did. And it's funny because Trubisky, I think this week before the game, even told the media, like, yeah, I've been advocating to the coaches to play to my strengths and stuff like that. And, use commit more. And, again, just seeing how this offense is playing just utterly baffles me how really stupid Matt Nagy is in terms of, maybe if you play to your player's strength, you might have had actually a better record than you initially would have had, huh? Again, I still don't understand why either any part of last year and some parts of this year, they didn't commit to the run, but this team is a run-first team. Now, I still believe they don't have the offensive line to be a dominant run-first team, but if Dan Montgomery can find any creases and find any open holes and keeps trucking piles of people on him, guess what? He's doing good. He's doing really good. In terms of the passing game, it was solid up until Trubisky made that really boneheaded, dumbass interception. Like I said, Trubisky, again, he had another solid game. Like I said, throughout the entire game, he only really made 2 mistakes. 1 mistake to Javon Wims, and then that stupid interception that could have maybe ended the Bears' playoff hopes and might have just really would have ended their season and would have ended the game if it wasn't for the Bears defense stepping up in that key point in the game, getting the stop on fourth down. Don't worry. We'll get to the Bears defense. Yeah, but other than those two mistakes and that really bad interception, Trubisky played what you could have asked for him to play. Again, listen, just because Trubisky is playing good doesn't mean we should extend him. I'm going to get something straight, guys. If you're a Bear fan right now saying, oh, we should definitely extend Mitchell Trubisky, we should give him another 1-year deal. Please. You're just going to be setting yourself up for the same stupid thing you've seen before. I'm going to say it before and I'm saying it again. Trubisky needs to leave the Chicago Bears and go somewhere else and get a new change of scenery. He does not need to come back here. Because already enough, you have half of Chicago who already, some of them likes him, some of them hates him, some of them just do anything. Listen, the last couple of weeks he's been playing some of the worst defenses in the league. That Minnesota Vikings defense, from what I saw, it wasn't good. Especially if they're getting carved up by the Chicago Bears that easily on the defensive side of the ball. And two, they're missing like key starters out on that side anyways. So you factor all that up when the Trubisky coming back effort, and guess what? There's what happened. He looks like a really good quarterback, and he looks like he's changed the corner. But don't believe it. I'm not buying into the hype. I'm not buying into this stupid BS hype that came out of nowhere that, oh, yeah, that Mitchell Trubisky, he might need to resign. No. This is the idiocracy of Bear fans because they see a few good games from Mitchell Trubisky playing bad defenses. They think he should return because potentially the backup are potentially maybe challenging for the starting position on a 1-year deal. No, I'm done with Trubisky. The Trubisky experiment has wasted its course. It's 4 years. Move on from him. Let him have his new change of scenery, and hopefully he flourishes somewhere else, which will also then question the fact why the Bears couldn't do it. Probably because their development staff sucks. But no, Trubisky doesn't need to come back. The dude still sucks. Like, look at that bad interception. That was a bad rushly thrown interception. That's a quarter that, and when I saw that, I was like, huh. So he turned back into the regular old Trubisky we all love and know, don't we? Good job. That interception could have cost us the damn game. And guess what? Then you have a whole other objection of people doing it. And that would have honestly been like the Lions game. Because honestly, I thought for the majority of this part, the game was honestly seeming like it was going to be like the Lions game. The Bears were going to be up and somehow blow a lead to a team that had no business being in this game. And Mitchell Trubisky makes probably the one mistake that he's been nearly perfect the entire game. And that one mistake ends up losing the game. Now, it didn't happen, but still, regardless. But listen, all I gotta say is this. You don't want to be in another Jay Cutler situation where you're stuck with a quarterback for another, 2, 3, 4 years. And then you're like, okay, can we move on from this guy? But you'll be the same people that were advocating we should retain him. I'm done talking about Mitchell Trubisky today. He does not need to return. He needs to go somewhere else, get a new start to his career. And hopefully he finds that. But as for the Bears, his future for the Bears, it's dead. And even if the Bears are stupidly enough to bring him back, he needs to be the backup quarterback. Well, he'd probably be the starting quarterback coming into this year if he were to come back. But regardless, he's not coming back this year. Another person who did pretty well, Bill Lazor, he's actually freaking play calling to the offensive strengths. He finally realized we should run the ball more than we should pass the ball more. I like the fact that even when they were still up big in this game, they still committed to the run. Even on that last drive, when they essentially had to seal the deal and when Cairo Santos hit the field goal to go up 33-27. They stuck with the run. They didn't do no passing BS to stop the clock. They just run the ball down the Vikings' throat until the Vikings eventually, could try to stop it. So regardless, Bill Lazor had another good called game, which again goes to the fact that Matt Nagy is probably not the best play caller because if his offensive play caller is actually out coaching him, yeah, that guy should never play call ever again if he comes back to the Bears. If he's not fired. I still think he should be fired, and they still need to get rid of the staff as a complete and some people in the management department, but we'll see. Anyways, the Bears defense, they put up 33 points, so what can you ask for? This Bears defense for the last few games, even though they've been playing bad teams, have done their job. They've done their job. Another person doing their job is Cairo Santos. Sign that man. We're talking about extend Allen Robinson. Extend Cairo Santos. That dude's kicking his heart out. If it keeps up, he might freaking break Robbie Gould's, straight field goal record. That dude honestly has earned himself a contract. He's earned himself another year, maybe a 2-year deal or something like that. But trust me, I'm sorry, Eddie Pinheiro, but you just lost your job. You have just lost your job. Because Cairo Santos, dude was like a few seasons ago one of the worst kickers in the league. Joined the Bears. Now he's one of the best kickers. So it seems like we have a solid kicker. And, hopefully that stays good because this dude is just not missing kicks. Now, whenever the Bears attempt for a field goal, I don't have to worry about freaking missing kicks like Cody Parkey did, last week against Baltimore, which I was freaking hilarious and laughing at. But I digress. So, Cairo Santos, extend that man, please. Because that guy's kicking his heart out, and he's honestly deserved himself another contract with the Bears. And hopefully the Bears, after the end, when the offseason kicks off, hopefully the Bears re-sign him to this team and don't let some other team freaking give him a good deal so he leaves you, and then now you're back with a kicking issue. So, yeah. Now let's get to the defense before I end this video off. My head's killing me just because thinking about the defense alone. Like I said, Matt Nagy needs to go, and Ryan Pace needs to go, and Ted Phillips needs to go, and yada, yada, yada. Any other people that needs to go. Let's add Chuck Pagano to that thing too, because this guy, I don't know what the hell he's calling on defense, like legit. I don't know what he's calling on defense. His zone coverage defense is god-awful because whenever he calls zone, it doesn't matter what quarterback it is. They rip the Bears defense apart because sometimes the Bears just don't get that pressure. Also, another thing, we got to see a Robert Quinn sighting for like the first time since week 2. Oh, it's about time. But then after that, he didn't do much of nothing. Figures. But listen, I don't know what Chuck Pagano's play calling. Like, this defense, honestly, I just don't know. He's playing back and keeping a safe defense, a safe zone prevent type of defense, when his offense is actually right now outperforming his own defense. I thought his whole thing was because the offense couldn't score, I'm not going to be nearly as aggressive. Well, your offense is scoring points. Where's that aggressive defensive play calling I'm expecting to hear or see on my screen? Look, I don't know what the defense is. The defense was allowing Kirk Cousins to do whatever he wanted, which started to upset me even more because I'm like, it's Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins. He's not that good. Albeit the Vikings overpaid for him massively. And you got freaking, what's his name? Justin Jefferson essentially saying, effing throw me the ball. You have a rookie telling a veteran that. That's how bad Kirk Cousins is. When you have a rookie telling him. That's why Stephon Diggs got up out of Minnesota. Because he was tired of Kirk Cousins because he knew he sucked. And look where Stephon Diggs is now. He's playing with probably right now one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the league playing right at this current moment in Josh Allen. Anyways, this defense for some reason could not get a stop to save its life, after now and then. They had the whole trend this game where the Bears offense would score, the Bears defense would come down the field and let the other opposing team score back and get them back in the game. Okay, they got a few good stops. They got a really nice stop in the first half on a 4-from-1 that, for some stupid reason, I don't know what Mike Zimmer was doing. I'm guessing, which I guess Adam Hogue said that it seemed like the Vikings at the point in time were going to probably try a punt fake, and then Matt Nagy saw something he didn't like, called a timeout. At first, I was going to clown him for calling that timeout, but then it seemed like, okay, he did it now, and that worked. And then, the Bears got a nice, comfortable lead. It was like 20-10, or no, 20-7. And what happens to this Bears damn defense? Or no, it was 20-10. Yeah, 20-10 at the half. Then Vikings get the ball back. What does Bears defense do? They just let the freaking Minnesota Vikings just march down their throats all the dang time, which put pressure on the offense to actually go get scores. And shockingly enough, the offense backed up, did their jobs, and they scored, points on literally almost every drive I saw to get, to keep within the striking distance to make sure the Minnesota Vikings didn't get in there. But then the defense just couldn't help out and get bails on and just gets consistent stops on a consistent basis. Every time the Bears offense scored, the Bears defense ended up giving up a dang touchdown. Even on that one drive where there was a very, and I mean very BS penalty from the refs on pass interference from Kevin Vildor on Adam Thielen, which was definitely not a pass interference. That was an offensive PI. And the fact that they called that a PI shows to me that the officials really do have something against the Bears and they hate the Bears. I saw that, I'm like, you cannot be serious. There was nothing that said PI there. And then even though that because of the BS penalty, the Bears, after the BS penalty, should be like, okay, whatever, let's get the stop this time. And then just let the Vikings go down and score a touchdown to be within a striking distance to score the game. Now, again, the Bears defense came up clutch on the second to last drive before the Vikings' last drive on the Hail Mary, and they got the stop. And fourth down. I would have liked the Bears offense to get the first down, but yeah. And then you have the Bears defense, making it close like they always do. And thank goodness a Vikings player did not catch that bobbled ball in the air because that would have been just plain out embarrassing. And that would have been, well, I wonder what the Bears defense is doing. But again, the Bears defense, if you ask me, was probably the worst thing in this game. They showed up like how the Bears offense, when Nick Foles was in there showing, stinging up the joint. They couldn't stop nobody. And I'm just telling you this. I don't know what's up. The offense is playing like they don't want Matt Nagy to lose his job, but the defense is playing bad like they want Matt Nagy fired, and it's some sort of retribution payback saying, oh, now your offense starts to click. Oh, that's great. We got to use that earlier in the season. So guess what? We're going to stink up the joint on defense. And if the defense is going to stink up the joint like that against Kirk Cousins, like that, then God, what am I going to see from the dang Jacksonville Jaguars? Now, who knows? Maybe they bring up the same tenacious ferocity they did against the Houston Texans on the defensive side of the ball. But if I'm looking at this, I'm like, well, then that means the Jacksonville Jaguars might be able to drop some points on us, unless they're just totally just throwing away their season to tank for whoever they need to tank for. But listen, that's my only critique of this game. The game was obviously pretty good played by the Bears, other than some stuff on the defensive side. Again, leads me to believe that this defense is just a solid defense. It's solid, good, decent, or whatever way you want to interpret the word solid. It's not a great defense, and it's definitely not an elite defense. It's still that stupid bend, no break mentality, but it's been breaking as of late more recently than as of the latter half or as of the start of the season, because I personally believe the defense has just given up. But regardless, the Bears are staying alive and still in the hunt for a playoff chase. They need the Cardinals to lose today because they beat the Minnesota Vikings. So they beat the Minnesota Vikings. The Bears right now, I think, are second place in the NFC North. They need Minnesota to They need Arizona to lose to Philadelphia today. So obviously every Bear fan right now should be the biggest Philadelphia and Jalen Hurts fan right now in beating them. And probably they actually do have a better chance at beating the Cardinals with Jalen Hurts than Carson Wentz, because that dude sucks. But yeah, like I said, things needed to happen. And yeah, so those things need to happen. I don't know if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won, but man, it would have been a blessing if they actually lost for Bear fans too, because then that could have also played anything. But hey, listen, Bears need Arizona to lose essentially 2 more games, and they got to win these two more games and stuff like that. But essentially the Bears need Arizona to lose out for them to potentially make a chance to get into the playoff picture. But we'll have to see what they do. They still have to do their job and win. They got Jacksonville next week, and then they got freaking Green Bay in Chicago though in the final week of the season, which could determine the chances that they make the playoffs, and they can fall short because they can either finish the season 9-7, I believe, or they can finish the season 8-8 and miss the playoffs. Boy, where have I seen that before? But hey, At least the team's being resilient and they're fighting, even though I disagree with the fact that they're winning. I personally would have asked just to lose to get a better draft pick or better draft pick positioning. But hey, okay, apparently stuff like that. And it seems like Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace will eventually keep their job because, oh, guess what? Things just didn't go our way and we'll try again next season. Anyways, this has been Cam for 15. If you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section if you thought about this Bears win and your thoughts about the Bears playoff chances. And till then, guys, I'm going to get out of here. So hit that subscribe button if you want to get more Chicago Bears recap. Until then, guys, have a great rest of your day and peace. Bears down.